Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing dumper Christmas secrets. I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing dumper Christmas secrets. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you might be interested to know some secrets that a dumper keeps from their dumpee. In today's podcast, I'm going to discuss 3 dumper secrets connected with Christmas time. So let's get straight into this, and number 1 is they think of you on Christmas Day. So if you're a dumpee, one of your biggest worries will likely be that your ex, the dumper, won't think of you on Christmas Day. But guess what? This is one of the dumper secrets that most dumpers will secretly be doing. They will be secretly thinking of you, the dumpee. And when I say secretly thinking of you, it's because unfortunately, there is no guarantee that they will actually reach out to you on Christmas Day. But the vast majority of dumpers will be thinking of their dumpee. Now, this isn't something that they are likely to even admit to their friends. You know, if their friends had spoke to them and said, are you thinking of your ex right now or anything like that? They will likely be suggesting that they're just doing their own thing, living their own life, and not really thinking of their ex. But the truth is that the vast majority of dumpers will think of their dumpee on Christmas Day. Now, the reason of this can be split into 2 categories, the first of which is that if you and your ex spent many Christmases together, you have the natural memories that your ex will be thinking of. On Christmas Day, it's very natural, it's very understandable, and it's what everybody does in regard to thinking back to previous Christmases. You naturally think back to what you did last Christmas or the Christmas before that. So, if you and your former partner spent one or many Christmases together, your ex will naturally think back to last year or years gone by further, and therefore will be imagining you and them together. If you spent time with your ex on Christmas Day, whether it was last year, whether it was further back, you will likely pass into their mind when they reminisce about previous Christmases. And look, there's a very good chance that you and your former partner had some great times at Christmas Day. And therefore, all of the potential triggers, eating the meal, opening the presents, listening to the music, watching the movies, all of these triggers remind people of previous Christmases, especially the great times people had together. And hence, if you shared great times with your ex on previous Christmas days, you will naturally be thought of by your ex. And if your dumper thinks of you, if they think of you in a positive light, connected with positive things that happened in the past, this, of course, will glow nicely for you when you consider, look, is my dumper thinking of me? Yes, they are. And they're thinking of you in a good light, but thinking of you in a positive way. Now, there is another reason as to why dumpers will think of their dumpees on Christmas Day, and this particularly helps those dumpees who maybe wasn't in a relationship for a year, maybe they wasn't with their ex on Christmas Day. And that is that Christmas Day has a natural feeling of people thinking back to the past, of people thinking, reminiscing, imagining the situations where they experienced throughout their life with loved ones past and present. You naturally reminisce on Christmas Day. And even if you're not thinking of previous Christmas days, you will think of your loved ones past and present. You naturally start to wonder and think, what are people doing that was in my past? What are they doing now? And you will be part of that thought. You will be somebody who is very important in your dumper's life. You will always be part of their life story. You're very important to them in the back of their mind. And even though they end a relationship, that doesn't mean that you aren't somebody of value in their existence. You are. And hence, even if you was not together for a whole year, even if you didn't spend Christmas Day together last year, your ex-dumper will likely be wondering what you're up to. It's natural. It's understandable to be thinking of people you was close to. And if you weren't together a year, that means your breakup couldn't have been that long ago in reality. And therefore, your dumper will be thinking you to do with this. So when we think of point number one and the secret of point number one is that your dumper will be thinking of you. The dumper will be thinking of their dumpee on Christmas Day. The vast majority of dumpers will either be reminiscing of past Christmases or thinking back just generally thinking of loved ones past and present. And therefore, you, the dumpee, will be in their mind. So now let's get into point number two and the second point of today's podcast about dumper Christmas secrets. And point number two is they won't think less of you. And this is regarding they won't think less of you if you don't buy them a gift or send them a card. One of the things that dumpees worry about at Christmas time is that if they don't get their ex a card, if they don't buy their ex a gift, that their ex will think worse of them. And this is simply not true. You know, it's one of the big secrets, you might say. The dumper will not be thinking less of their dumpee if the dumpee doesn't buy them things. This plays in to the dumpee mindset of begging, pleading, reasoning. Sometimes a dumpee will think, you know, look, I'm really sorry for what I may have done. They think they've done something wrong. That's why they've been dumped. And they want to try to get a gift, send a card, apologise for something. But at the end of the day, the dumper is not going to be thinking less of you if you don't get them a gift or a card. In fact, they will probably be thinking more of you. Because if you get your ex a card or a present after they've dumped you, that shows you are not respecting the breakup. It shows you're not listening to your ex. It shows that you're not respecting the situation, and in a way, you've not accepted their decision. So if you can't accept their decision, if you can't respect them for what they've decided to do, you showcase yourself as a low-value individual who is not somebody who's a dateable option. How can you be a dateable option when you don't listen to what your former partner is saying? Your former partner is saying the relationship is over, and you're kind of saying, look, it doesn't matter what you're saying. I'm just going to try to buy your love. Look, you can't buy somebody's love. Love has to be grown organically, natural, real. It has to be something real that I like to refer to as romantic emotional attraction. This isn't something that can be bought. You can't persuade somebody. And if you decide to move forward on your own journey and not buy your ex a card or a present, this isn't something they're going to be angry about. They're going to be thinking, well, at least they've understood what I've said. At least they've respected my decision. And therefore, you're at least showcasing that you are listening to your former partner. Some people get dumped because they're not good communicators and they're not good at listening. This is a classic moment tying into that. If you've been dumped for those reasons, then showcasing you're not listening even further is not going to help. You don't want to be coming across as needy or desperate. Buying somebody a gift or a card who has dumped you doesn't come across as high value. It comes across as very low value. You're trying to beg somebody, you're trying to buy somebody to be with you. When no, look, if somebody has decided not to be in your life, you need to move forward on your own path. You can't be chasing somebody because you will chase them further away. Chasing is very unlikely to ever help your cause. So concentrate on yourself, move forward on your own journey, and don't buy your ex a card or a present unless under exceptional circumstances, such as you starting to reconnect during the Christmas period. I've spoke about this in other podcasts, but ultimately 99% of you dumpees should not be buying their dumper a present or a card. If you want to check out my other podcast where I speak about the very rare exception, then do so, but it's not going to be for all of you. In fact, it's probably going to be for less than 1% of you. Ultimately, don't buy your ex a present or a card, and that is the best course of action for the vast majority of you, the vast majority of the time. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about dumper Christmas secrets. And point number 3 is contacting you was considered. So after asking many dumpers if they considered reaching out to their ex at Christmas, I can safely say that most dumpers do consider wishing their ex a Merry Christmas as long as it's not been too many years into the future. Now, the reason that most dumpers don't contact their exes is because they don't want to be seen to be leading their former partner on. And I believe this is a fair reason and ultimately the best outcome for the dumpee. So if you are a dumpee and you're thinking, my ex will never think of me, I've already said that they will be thinking of you, but what might surprise you further is that the vast majority of dumpers do think about contacting their dumpee. They do think about reaching out and saying Merry Christmas, providing it's not been too many years after the breakup. I know this because I've spoke to many dumpers. I've asked them the very question about whether they have thought about this or not. And those dumpers who said they did think about it, but they didn't send a message, they didn't send a card, they didn't make any type of communication, they said the reason they didn't was because they was worried the dumpee would read into this more than they was actually offering. So in essence, the dumper is considering contacting their ex, but at this stage, it is not from a romantic place. It's from a friendly, platonic place, and they don't want to lead their ex on, and I think that's great. Because if you're a dumpee, you don't want to be led on. You only want to hear from your ex if they are truly, genuinely interested in you. And therefore, you don't want a dumper to be sending you something out of some type of loyalty or pity or anything which isn't connected to them wanting to reconnect. So, if you hear from your ex again, the likelihood is that they've grown enough romantic emotional attraction to at least consider what communication can go through, what things can be like, and possibly you can reconnect once more. Because as I've just said, most dumpers have told me that they won't contact their ex at Christmas, not because they haven't thought about doing it, but because they're not ready to do it. They're not thinking that they want to reconnect at this time. They don't want to lead their dumpee on. So if you do receive contact, that is a good sign. Now look, nothing can be guaranteed. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back. And if you hear from your ex, there is no guarantee that you are going to get back together. But it is a positive sign. Your ex will be contacting you either for a necessary or a non-necessary reason. If it's necessary, then you have to deal with that. If it's non-necessary, then from my research, most dumpers are basically saying that they're interested in developing some type of communication and seeing how things develop. This doesn't mean you'll get them back. You know, if you're a dumpee, you need to be making sure you navigate the communication stage effectively, else it can fall at this hurdle. But the vast majority of dumpers have said that they really don't want to reach out to their dumpee just to say Merry Christmas, not because they don't really want to, but because they aren't feeling ready. So that shows that when they are ready, they are more likely to be reaching out. You know, if we change the equation up, it shows that if somebody does reach out, they do have more interest. Nothing is guaranteed, but it is a positive sign. Just because you don't hear from your dumper on Christmas Day, it doesn't mean you won't hear from them on the 20th of February. You know, it doesn't matter what the day of the year is. If you hear from your ex, this is a time where there is an opportunity to grow that connection. And that's why I always say as a dumpee, never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. Because if they do, and if it's not for a necessary reason, you at least know they've got the interest to start communicating, and then you can see what happens. Dumpers are unlikely to reach out to their dumpee to say Merry Christmas if they're not feeling anything at all, if they're just doing it through some type of loyalty, pity, or some friendly aspect. It's unlikely, unless they've got enough romantic emotional attraction, that they will send this. So, if you don't hear from your ex on Christmas Day, don't feel like they haven't thought about it. They likely have, but they're just wanting to protect you, and I think that is the best thing for you and for them. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.